Today I want this to be nice, short and informative. So we in Pilates, there's three things very important for the exercise, which are your posture, your core engagement and your breathing. So good posture is very important. So we don't need unnecessary stress and pressure on our spine and on our joints, and that's why we need a good posture, so we can do things without putting our body under stress and without creating bad habits that might negatively affect our life and our health. So, and they are very important for the movements as well, because the movements of Pilates, they work with resistance against gravity using your body weight. So as well, you don't need that extra pressure on your joints or your spine while you're exercising. And then core engagement for support and your breathing to connect your breath with your movements. So first of all, I'll just teach you guys how to fix your posture, how to find a good alignment for your posture to start the exercises, and then talk about the other principles, okay? So I'll get up here and then you guys can see me and we're standing up. How we can find this good alignment. So we should have our feet standing hip distance apart or shoulder width apart. And sometimes your feet are slightly open to the side, externally rotated, we say, or just basically open to the sides, very slightly kind of a diagonal line on your feet, or they are straight, completely straight. That's just different body anatomy and it's fine, but the main thing is they're hip distance apart and you're grounded through the four corners of your feet. So you're rooting through your feet. Then we'll bring our awareness up to our knees. So make sure your knee joint is not locked. So some people have hyperextension on their knees or too much bend on the knees. So just make sure you just have that softened knees, but they are not hyperextended or too much bending too much. So you're standing tall, bring your awareness to your hips. Let's say you have your we have to find a neutral lower back. Sometimes I call it lower back or lumbar back or lumbar spine. It's all the same. It's just basically this curvature of your lower back here. So we use our pelvis to find that nice alignment. So we can think of your pelvis like a bowl filled with water or a bucket full of water. And I'll turn on my side here, it'll be easier for you guys to see. When you tilt the pelvis, imagine that bucket here with the water, and then you tilt the pelvis back, the water spills in the front. If you tilt it to the front, the water spills at the back here. So you have to tilt your pelvis and find that middle point where the water is not spilling. You can also use your hands, one in front on your waistline here, and one at the back on your waistline. And you can play with the pelvis. See, I'm not bending my knees, I'm doing this with the pelvis. The knees are soft, they are slightly bent, but I'm tilting the pelvis and then checking the curvature here. When your hands, if you tilt your pelvis back, front hand will be above, higher than the back hand. If you tilt it forward, the back hand will be higher than the front hand. So you have to find a point where they are at the same height, they're aligned, and that should give you a nice neutral curvature. We have these curves on our spine. On our low back, it goes inwards, then goes up to our thoracic spine, goes a little bit outward, and then our neck or our cervical part of the spine, it's another subtle curve inwards. So it's natural to have these curves. The only thing is we don't want to have them exaggerated or flat. Some people have this flat back or exaggerated curvature. Our daily life gives us these bad habits. Sometimes we're carrying heavy backpacks, or parents who have kids and you are like holding your kids or playing with them or holding their hands while you're walking, and all these habits, when you repeat them over and over again, they affect your posture and your spine and the way you stand and the way you do things, or driving or cycling or carrying shopping bags, all these things. So we have to be mindful of our posture, not just doing the Pilates exercise, but the Pilates exercises want to correct these bad posture habits. So find that, don't want to have flat back or exaggerated back, just find the nice neutral alignment here. So bring our awareness up as well. So feet, knees, lower back, and pelvis, and then we go up to our shoulders. Make sure your shoulders are in neutral. You can roll them forward, up, back and down, and you find your collarbones open, your arms resting alongside your body, and they should follow your trapezius line, this muscle here on your neck. So that's a nice neutral alignment for your shoulders. And then your head, your neck. Head should be stacked above, on top of the neck. It's very sometimes silly and obvious to say this, but sometimes we tend to have our head forward or back, especially now with the mobile phones all the time looking at the screen or computer. So it's important to be mindful of that as well and bring your head to a nice neutral alignment. So your neck or cervical spine, that is how you fix that, how you bring that to neutral is think of the horizon line. Think of your chin parallel to the horizon line. It's not up above or below it, it's at the horizon line, and your eye gaze as well is resting at the horizon. You're not looking up or down. So then the crown of your head shooting up towards the ceiling. Imagine there's like a thread pulling up towards the ceiling. So we're there, standing tall, nice alignment on your feet, hip distance apart, soft knee, lower back in neutral, spine is in neutral, neck, shoulder and head. So that's the alignment, the standing up in neutral alignment for Pilates. And now, after you've set up your nice good posture, you think of your core engagement. Core engagement is a huge part of the Pilates exercises. Everyone wants to do Pilates because they want to get a strong core, and the core is involved in all movements. So what you have to do is a contraction, engagement of the core. So your abdominal muscles, there's some layers of muscles here, there's a few muscles involved in it. I won't be saying all their names because it's too complicated and we don't need to know that right now. But what we need to know is we need to engage our core and our pelvic floor muscles. So some people engage both. Some people engage just the pelvic floor because sometimes people have surgery or they have some weaknesses on their abdominal muscles or vice versa. So they engage one or the other. Some people engage the two of them. The main thing is don't engage it too much or too little. You have to find a mild engagement. So pelvic floor, you squeeze and energetic lift the pelvic floor muscles, and the abdominal muscles, they hug your core here, you contract them. How to contract them? Let's imagine, just imagine someone's going to punch you in the belly. You contract your muscles 100%. So that's not it's that kind of engagement we want, but not to that extreme, to that extent. So bring that down to 30%, and that's the kind of engagement you want. So you squeeze, you engage, you contract your muscles. Another analogy we can use is, I know it's silly, but let's say you have those jeans, they are one size smaller than yours and you want to get to put them on, and then you squeeze your abdominal muscles and you squeeze them to zip it up, zip it closed. So it's that kind of engagement as well. They're just analogies, ideas of how you can find the engagement, your core engagement, but these things, they seem too strange. Sometimes we've never thought about them before, about posture, how to stand, how to engage the core, but all these come in place as we practice. I just want you guys to have them in mind. I'm explaining these things now because during the classes, I want the classes to be short, so from between 30 and 40 minutes each class, as I said before, and I don't want to take too long during the class explaining these things. I don't want to take up time that we could be exercising, talking about core, posture, and breathing. I just want to mention these things, and I want you guys to have them in mind, to know them, so you guys know what to do. And if you forget or something, you can refer back to the video. I leave this video recorded so you guys can go back and watch again, and then have more clear idea of what I'm talking about, or even if you still have any questions, you can drop me a message. But anyway, let's move on. So if you guys want to stand there with me to practice the breathing now and the engagement of the core, feel free to do it. I even encourage you to do it. If you don't, you can do it later on. Try when you're by yourself alone or something. But try and do this to feel, to know how it feels. So we're there in good posture. We have our core engaged. For now, let's let go of the core engagement. Place our hand on our belly and exhale completely. Now inhale completely and exhale. you can feel your belly inflating and deflating with the breath. So now, just one thing, inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. That's the way we breathe in Pilates, okay? In through the nose, out through the mouth. So now, let's engage our core, 30 to 40% engagement, and then we breathe in. You can notice that your belly doesn't flare out, doesn't expand to the front anymore. It's more concentrated on your upper body, upper torso here, on your thoracic part of your torso. So that brings us to the name. Pilates breath is called lateral thoracic breathing because we breathe into the lateral side of our thoracic part of our torso. But that's a long and complicated name. I don't like to use it. So I say Pilates breath. So Pilates breath is into the sides of our rib cage. So get your index finger and your thumb in a L shape. You can hook on the side of your ribs. Now again, engage your core, and then we breathe in. And out. Doing that with the core engaged, you can really feel the rib cages expanding to the side. Another way to check if you're breathing correctly in Pilates is get your hands flat, place them on top of your stomach. The tip of your middle fingers are touching, and then engage your core again. Inhale. And exhale. When you inhale with your hands here, again, engage your core, inhale. Look down. Your fingertips, they broke apart a little bit. Exhale, they come back together. So when you inhale, there's a little gap between your fingertips, and that indicates you that your hip rib cages are flaring out to the side. So that's the Pilates breath. In Pilates, the breath is synchronized with the movement. Is inhale for one part of the movement, exhale for the other part of the movement. And the exhale requires more effort because we use the exhale for the more demanding or challenging part of the exercise. So let's say you're doing a push-up. When you go down, you inhale. When you're pushing up, you exhale with greater effort. So it gives you more strength and power for that more challenging part of the exercise. So just one last thing that I want to show you guys is just about how to check your posture when you're sitting down or lying on your mat, because I'm standing up here, so I say ground through your feet. Think of the neutral spine, soften knees, neutral neck, and so on. But how to you do that on your mat is a little bit different when you're sitting down or laying down. The principles are the same, neutral alignment and etc. But I'll show you now. Just first of all, when you're sitting, you ground through your sit bones. So your ischium. So your two sit bones should be in contact with the floor all the time. Then be facing the camera. So sit bones in contact with the floor all the time. And then you can even sway side to side and feel that point of contact. Your spine is long, crown of the head shooting up towards the ceiling. Shoulder open, neck in neutral, so eye gaze at the horizon. The only thing is the curvature on your lower back. It won't be as noticeable as it is when you're standing up. So you have a different positioning of your back, and that changes the curvature on your back, but that's normal. Same as when you have your legs extended. You feel it different than when you have your legs crossed or something, or even standing up, but that's normal. The main thing is long spine, neutral shoulders, grounding through your sit bones. It's normal if you have tight hamstrings like I have, to have your knees a little bit bent. You just have to bend the knees if you have to, extend the legs, cross the legs, do whatever it's needed of you to do to practice long spine, grounding through the sit bones, long neutral neck. So it doesn't really matter if you can fully extend your legs or not. What matters is the positioning and the alignment of your upper body and your spine, because the main thing we want to look after here is our spine, of course our joints as well. So when you're lying down on your mat, I'll lay down here. To find your neutral, and if you have a mat there, you can do it with me. If not, you can just watch. You can have that hip distance apart or shoulder distance apart on your feet. You can check that as well. Here, you can put your fist in between your knees. That should indicate you have that nice alignment here. Your knees should be aligned with your middle toes there as well. So that gives you a nice standing posture, lying down alignment. Now here, your back, your lower back, you know the tilt of the pelvis that we were doing while standing up? We can do the same here. If I tilt it back, my low back is flat on the floor, is in contact with the floor all the time. If I tilt it forward, then I have this gap in between my back, my low back and the mat. We want to find a gap here where the gap is enough to slide a piece of paper in between your body and the mat without the paper getting caught between your body and the mat. So you can tilt your pelvis until you find that middle point. The arch shouldn't be big enough to slide your hands there, it's just small enough and big enough for a piece of paper, or else, I have teachers, they used to say a blueberry. Could place a blueberry there without the blueberry getting squeezed or smashed. So when you get up, the blueberry is there intact. So that's just imagery, images or analogies that you can have in your head to help with the doing the actual thing that you have to do, which is find your neutral alignment. So that's it, shoulders relaxed on the floor, arms alongside your body, and eye gaze forward at the ceiling. So your chin, as if you are standing up, your chin is parallel to the horizon line. It's the same here, but the only thing is that you're looking up towards the ceiling, so you're not looking up, lifting your chin or bringing your chin towards your chest, because that compresses or hyperextends your cervical here, and that's no good. So eye gaze forward on the ceiling. And that's how you find your alignment. Lying down, same as you have your legs extended, you have this gap here. It's easier to notice the gap when you have your legs extended, because it's more, it's harder, it's unlikely that you have a flat back here, and if you do have, then you really have to practice this tilt of the pelvis. So I'll get up now. Always use your hands to help you when you're getting up from a lying position. Okay, so come close to you guys again. So these things that I told you, they are the basic setup for the movement. So your core engagement, your posture, and your breathing, your Pilates breath. So they are things that I'll be mentioning all the time, and I really want you guys to practice them before the class, even if you can, when you're at home, or a few minutes before we start the class. Just check in with your posture, your breathing. How am I today? How's my core engagement? So